Russia is about to embark on another space race. For the first time in history, Russia will be sending a film crew to space. A cosmonaut, an actress and a director will spend 10 days on the International Space Station to film The Challenge. The movie will be documenting the fictional story of a doctor who was sent to space to treat a cosmonaut. For more on this exciting journey into space, we're joined by our Moscow correspondent, Julia Chapman. Julia, thank you so much for joining us. We've all watched the sci-fi movie set in space, and now we have the opportunity to watch one that was actually filmed beyond our skies. How will it actually work?
That's right. It is a historic moment, one that Russia was very keen to be the first to achieve, beating the US in its own race. It had already announced plans to send a film crew into space, among them Tom Cruise. But Russia has gotten there first. In the next 20 minutes, they'll be sending this film crew up to the ISS, the International Space Station, where, as you say, they'll be filming for the next 10 days or so. And of course, there are a number of challenges involved in that. Not least because they're in anti-gravity. They have to deal with filming, lighting, makeup all by themselves without any extraneous crew members. And they'll be using some of the cosmonauts already on board the ISS as actors in the film because they simply can't get any more people up into the ISS. So cosmonaut Oleg Novitsky will be playing the cosmonaut in the film who requires medical treatment, which is why the actress playing the doctor is being sent up to space to treat him. So lots of challenges involved in the technical production of this film, but of course they had to go through extensive training to get up to speed to allow them to be sent into space after just 4 months of preparation.
I wonder how they're going to actually film get the footage in, and how the actress was chosen.
She was chosen through a very competitive process. More than 3,000 people applied for this particular job. There was a call out earlier this year looking for actresses to play the role. They wanted a woman to be involved in this project, to be the first actress to go into space. And there was a very strict criteria. She had to be within a certain age range. She had to be very physically fit, be able to run 5 kilometers under a certain time. And they narrowed it down to 37-year-old actress Julia Chapman, very well known here in Russia, and she seemed to fit the bill. She's relatively small, very fit, and seemed up for a challenge. But there were also difficulties with the filmmaker, the director himself, Klim Shipenko, who had to lose 15 kilograms to be able to do this project. He is very tall, 6'2", and that makes things very difficult as well when you're climbing into small spaces like spacecraft and the ISS capsules, which they'll be living in for the next 10 days.
I wonder how long the training actually took, because there are all sorts of rigorous, as you say, exercise and training routines to make sure that you're fit enough for the challenge. But there are also the issues of food, medication, and just basic sanitation.
Exactly. Those are all things that this pair has had to get up to speed with very quickly. The training took about 4 months, and they said in a press conference yesterday that it was difficult physically, emotionally, and psychologically. But it wasn't just the rigors of the physical training as well. There were technical things that they had to learn because they will be flying a spacecraft. They're, of course, being piloted by a professional cosmonaut, but there were still many things they needed to learn, many acronyms involved in the actual launch of the Soyuz capsule that will be going up in the next 20 minutes or so, and lots of the technical specifications of what they actually have to do on board. They said they spoke with many former cosmonauts and astronauts about what it's actually like to live on board. But of course, nobody's actually filmed a feature film in space before. There have been documentaries made about what's going on up on the ISS, but nobody's done this exact thing before. And so the project is going to be full of experiments. Things are likely to go wrong, expected to go wrong, and they'll be learning as they go along.
Julia, before I let you go to liftoff, Russia seems to be very proud of winning this particular space race. Is there still this tension between Russia and the United States in order to do everything first on space?
There certainly is that race, although it's one that Russia in its modern space program has actually been losing. Of course, Russia's space program, Roscosmos, the space agency, has been underfunded for many years, with the finances going instead to Russia's defense industry. And bodies like SpaceX that have emerged in the United States have made it much easier for the US to compete with Russia. Russia lost its monopoly on sending humans into space last year, which is when SpaceX had started doing it for NASA. So it was very important symbolically for Russia to win this particular race. It was one they decided was achievable, and they wanted to get there first. It's a project that's been met with a lot of criticism. Of course, it's going to be very expensive. Many space experts say that this is a waste of money and resources. They should be focusing instead on intensifying research and innovation. But it was a very important moment for Russia to be able to say, we were the ones who've done this first.
Thank you so much. That's our Moscow correspondent, Julia Chapman.